Greetings, learners. Welcome to the algebraic tutoring service. In this session, we're going to be solving for x. This question is taken from a question from grade 11 June exam paper 1 that was written in 2019. So when we look at the first question, 1.1, so we have 1.1.1 in 1.1. So 1.1.1 says x squared minus 6x equals to 7. So if you can check, we have a quadratic equation, but it's not written in its standard form. So the first step is to write this equation into its standard form. So we'll have x squared minus 6x minus 7 equals to 0. So now this equation is now in its standard form. So the next step is to find the factors. So for the factors for x squared, we know it's x and x. So the factors for negative 7, we know we have negative 7 and plus 1. So this will give you 0. So these are the factors for this equation here. So the next step is to write the values for x, right? So in this case, we'll have two values for x. Why? Because this, with the product of this has to give us 0. So it's either this one equals to 0 or this one equals to 0. So it's either x minus 7 equals to 0 or x plus 1 equals to 0. So x will equals to 7 or x will equal to negative 1. So we are done with 1.1. So the next one is 1.1.2. Okay, if you can check from our equation, it's similar to what we have in 1.1.1, but the only difference here, they gave us something here. They say correct to two decimal places. So this is an indication that we have to use a quadratic formula. But before we write the quadratic formula, we must write this equation into its standard form. So writing this equation, we have 3x squared minus 2x minus 14. Okay. So this is now written in its standard form. So this is written in its standard form. So we moved the 14 from the right hand side to the left hand side so that it can be in its standard form. So the next step here is to apply the quadratic equation. So my friendly advice is to make sure that you memorize this formula. So it's not a difficult formula to memorize. So you need to make sure that you memorize this formula. So the next step here is to substitute the numbers here in this equation into this formula. So for the first one, we have negative b. What is our b? Our b here is negative 2. So we substitute negative 2. That's the first one that we substitute. So we substitute negative 2. So we have plus or minus square root, and then b squared. B squared, we have negative 2 again, but we square it. So minus 4ac minus 4 our a, we can see our a here, it's 3. So we'll have 3 here. And then the next one is c. Our c is negative 14. So we'll have negative 14 here. Okay, so all this will be divided. This will be divided by 2a. What is our 2a? Okay, let me erase this. What is our 2a? We know our a. Our a is 3. Our a is 3. So we can simplify this further. Negative 2 times 2, it's positive 2, plus or minus square root of, we have 2 squared. What is negative 2 square? It's positive 4. And then here, negative 4 times 3 times 14. So this you can confirm with your calculator. So from my calculator, I get positive 168. So this will all be divided by 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So to be divided by 6. So you need to confirm with your calculator. So the next step here, you just use your calculator. You have 2 plus or minus. When you add 168 plus 4, you have 172, and all divided by 6. So your value for x will equal to, let's say now you want to add, you want to use an addition, not subtraction. You can say is 2 plus divided square root of 172 divided, all divided by 6. So you check this with your calculator. Say 2 plus square root of 172 divided by 6. So for your first value for x, you'll get 2.52 if you rounding it into this 2 decimal places. Because if you can check your question, they say round into 2 decimal places. So the next one is if it's a negative. So if it's a negative, your other value for x, it will be 2 minus square root of 172 divided by 6. This will give you can check with your calculator, 2 plus negative, sorry, 2 negative or minus 1 square root of 172 divided by 6. So it will give you negative 185. So you are done solving your you are done solving the question here. So the next question, it's 1.1.3. You have square root of x minus 2 plus x. So let me write it here. 1.1.3. So it's, let me confirm, square root of x minus 2, square root of x minus 2, x, then plus x plus x equals to 2. So for this one, since you have a square root here, you need to get rid of this square root here. But now you have x here, that's adding to this square root. You need to bring this x to the left hand side, right? So the next step here, you need to say x minus 2, square root of x minus 2 will equal to 2 minus x. So in order to get rid of this root here, you need to square both sides. So you can square here and you can also square here. So when you square here, remember when you square a square root, the answer will be the number that inside the square root. So it will, in this case, it will be x minus 2. So when you square this, you'll have 4 minus 4x plus x squared. So the next step here is to group the like terms. So the like terms, if you can have, because you can put this equation here on the left hand side and this equation on the right hand side and not change anything. So you can have x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals to x minus 2. So grouping the like terms, you can bring x to this side, and now you'll have x squared minus 4x minus x, and then you'll have positive 4 plus 2 when you move negative 2 to this side. And now you'll have x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals to 0. So the next step here is to find the factors for x squared and positive 6, such that when you add or minus their product, it gives you negative 5x. So the first factors for x squared is simple, it's x and x. So we have x and x. So the factors for positive 6, so that when we add or minus, we get negative 5. We can have um, negative 3 and negative 2. Okay, this will be the factors, and the value for x will have x minus 3 equals to 0, or x minus 2 equal to 0. So our value for x here will have x equals to 3 or x equals to 2. So we are done with solving 1.1.3. So moving forward to question 1.1.4. So 1.1.4, okay, I'm going to write it here. 1.1.4, we have x squared plus 7x, which is less than 0. So also here, we are solving for x. So the first step that we need to do here is we have a common factor of what? Of x. So we need to take the common factor of x. So we have x and then x plus 7. This will be equals to 0. So the next step here is to find the critical values. So our critical, sorry about it. So our critical values will be these ones here. So it's either will have x equals to 0 or x equals to negative 7. So these are our critical values. So we can also draw, when we draw, okay, we first put our critical values. We'll have 0. Sorry about that. Start with the negative. We'll have a negative 7, and 0. So we check where this equation is less than 0. So if you can check from the parabola, when you draw a parabola, because a parabola is a quadratic expression. So if you can check, this is positive, it's a positive parabola. So it will be something like this, right? So only this part will be negative, and then this part will be positive, and this part will be positive in our parabola. If you are drawing a parabola, these are our critical values in our parabola. So we know between negative 7 and 0 will have less than 0, will have a negative. So our final answer is when 7 is less than x is less than 0. So between negative 7 and 0, we'll find our solution to be negative. So moving forward to 1.1.5. So 1.1.5, 1.1.5, we have 3 to the power x plus 3 minus 3 to the power x plus 2 equals to 486. So the first step here is to recognize that we are working with exponents. So the rules for exponents, you know that if you have 3 to the power x plus 3, this can be written as 3 to the power x multiplied by 3 to the power 3. So all this will be minus with 3 to the power x plus 2. So this can be written as 3 to the power x times 3 to the power 2 equals to 486. So we can find a common factor here. A common factor is 3 to the power x, and then here we'll be left with 3 to the power 3 minus 3 to the power 2. So we'll have this equals to 486. So we can simplify what's in the bracket because we know with BODMAS you need to first simplify what's in the bracket first. So 3 to the power 3 we know is 27, and then 3 to the power 2 we know it's 9. So it will be 27 minus 9, here all equal to 486. So 3 to the power x, 27 minus 9, we can compute that. This will be 18. 486. So we need to get rid of this 18. Can divide by 18 and also divide this side by 18, because what you do on your left hand side you also do on your right hand side. So this will cancel. We'll be left with 3 to the power x equals to 486 divided by 18. So you can calculate it and confirm. So it will give you 27. Give you 27. So the next step is to say 3 to the power x equals to, so 27 can be written as 3 to the power 3. So your final answer will be x equals to 3. So that's your final answer. So moving forward to the next question, we move to 1.2. So 1.2, we are given an equation which is x squared plus 2xy minus 8x squared equals to 2. And now they ask us 1.2.1, we need to determine the values of the ratio x divided by y. So let me get the question. Okay, so it's question 1.2.1. So it's x squared plus 2xy minus 8y squared all equals to 0. So they need us to write it in the expression x divided by y. So for the first step that we need to do, we can see we have a quadratic equation as well here. We need to find factors for this equation. So the first factor is very simple. For x, we have x and x. And then the next one is for negative 8y. So we can have positive 4y and negative 2y, all equal to 0. These are the factors for this equation. So we know that x plus 4y equals to 0, or x minus 2y equals to 0. So we have x equals to negative 4y, or x equals to positive, it's positive 2y. Yes, I can erase this. Don't need this. Okay, so the question asks, let's go back to the question. It asks to determine the values of the ratio x divided by y. So if you can check here, For us to get the ratio x divided by y, here we already have x equals to negative 4y. So we can divide by y here and also divide by y here such that it cancels here. So we'll have x divided by y equals to negative 4, or we do the same here. We can divide by y both sides such that the y's here cancel, and then xy will equal to 2. So that's our final solution. So